Hi, I'm Yvette Jones, and this is Talk Fulton. On today's show, what will it take to get your kids in the juvenile justice system back on the right track? We'll talk with court officials. And there is a good reason to want to go to the Fulton County Jail. We'll talk to the sheriff's new commander of community outreach. Talk Fulton starts right now. We're talking today about the steps Fulton's Juvenile Court is taking to make a difference in the lives of their young clients and their families. While some may only think about troubled kids when they hear about juvenile court, there is much more to the system. Shania Chavis has our story.
It is the largest juvenile court in the state of Georgia and amongst the largest juvenile courts in the Southeast. In 2014 alone, Fulton County Juvenile Court judges handled over 6,500 cases. While its number one mission is to protect children and the community in matters that are brought before the court, there is a major emphasis on rehabilitating children and restoring families.
We have thousands of cases that literally go through this court every year, and we would like to think that all of them end wonderfully. They don't all. But these are the children, and these are the stories, and these are the families that we celebrate, because this is the best that can happen in juvenile court.
From adoption proceedings to diversion programs, the court's goal is to resolve underlying issues precipitating court involvement. Court officials say that challenge is monumental but achievable when the community, its partners, and stakeholders all actively engage in the mission to save our children. Reporting for FGTV, I'm Shania Chavis.
Samuel Washington is the Deputy Chief Probation Officer for Fulton County's Juvenile Court. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Tell me a little bit about what diversion programs are and how they function within the context of juvenile court's mission to help children and parents.
We actually have several diversion programs. Diversion technically is designed to make sure that kids who don't have significant legal issues don't get caught up in the legal system. A lot of kids commit minor offenses, sometimes children being stupid sort of acts that end up bringing them to the attention of the juvenile court. Those cases we attempt to divert from the court system. We have several programs in juvenile court, including mediation. We have community restorative boards, teen court. We have a regular diversion program that we call informal conference, where we meet with the child and parent, make sure that there are no issues that are happening in the child's life that might be problematic, and bring them back before the court. If there are issues, we work on referring parents and children to programs that will assist them in resolving those issues. Mm-hmm. Then we have those cases adjusted and closed, and we have the kids' records sealed.
Now, how would a child or family be referred to a diversion program?
Well, it depends to a great extent on what the child is charged with. Okay. If it's their first offense, they've never been before the court before, mm-hmm. and it's a misdemeanor offense, we refer those cases to our diversion program so that they are routed either to mediation if there are issues between families or children, or we send those cases to our community restorative boards. The community restorative board is people in the community who have decided to assist with children who are having problems, volunteer, and those people actually hear cases, misdemeanor cases, and they resolve those issues. We also have teen court, where children in the community actually volunteer, come into the court, perform the functions of the judicial authorities. They act as defense attorneys, prosecuting attorneys, bailiffs and probation officers, and actually hear cases and prescribe remedies for children who have committed misdemeanor offenses.
Peer solutions.
Correct.
So now, I understand that Juvenile Court also operates a Saturday diversion program, the Learning Club. How did this program get started, and exactly what does it offer to young men and women?
Understood. In 2006, I was actually talking with a teacher who is also acts as a tutor. She is a part of that program called Club Z. They actually provide tutoring for children who are having issues in school. It's a part of that No Child Left Behind program that was started by George W. Bush when he was president. So I asked her if she could tutor some of our children, and she said she would be more than happy to if we could provide some compensation for that. We had a small grant in the court at that time. We actually used that grant, and she actually started coming on Saturdays, tutoring our kids who, from the diversion programs, who were having issues in school. The grant was a short-term grant. It only lasted a short time. So after the grant was expired, then our tutor actually had to leave because that was one of her ways of taking care of herself. So we went to the AU Center, to Clark, Spelman, and Morehouse. We started recruiting students from their community service programs. Those students have been coming since 2007. And every Saturday we align a child who is having issues with certain subjects in school with college students who are majoring in those subjects, and they actually provide tutoring and some mentoring for our kids.
It sounds like a mutually beneficial opportunity.
Absolutely. The kids actually get to rub elbows with college students, which is where we want them to be eventually.
Which brings us to the point of volunteers. Are you seeking additional volunteers? And if so, how should someone who's interested in volunteering reach out to the club?
We're always seeking volunteers, and we appreciate volunteers. We have a long list of volunteers, people from the community, not only those students from the AU Center. We also have volunteers from Georgia State, and then we have private citizens who volunteer. We have a resource coordinator at the court, and that people who are interested in volunteering should actually contact her. Okay.
Now, I also understand that Juvenile Court also offers a program called Smart Moves Chess.
Smart Moves Chess is part of TLC, the Learning Club. One of our probation officers, Mustafa Mahdi, about the middle of last year, recommended that we start a program where kids actually come and play chess. And we acquaint playing chess to the thinking that a child should learn for resolving personal problems, school problems, life skills problems. Chess is, some people think, very complicated. Actually not very complicated, but a very good strategy game where kids actually sit and think. So on Fridays from 5 to 7 we play chess. Well, we say 5 to 7, but the kids actually don't leave at 7. So from 5 until the last kid decides they've had enough, we play chess on Fridays.
Now, you touched on this a little bit, but how is it helping them with life skills and decision making?
If you're a chess player, you understand that every move that you make affects every other piece on the board. So that acquaints to the reality that some of the things that the kids, how things that kids do actually affect other issues in their lives, other parts of their lives. So we teach them that you have to think before you act, and you have to make sure you understand that when you make a move, it affects every other aspect of your life, which is what happens on the chessboard.
Wow, wonderful correlations. Now, in late 2014, FGTV had the opportunity to attend Juvenile Court's National Adoption Day ceremony.
Yes.
Would you briefly tell our viewers about National Adoption Day?
Judge Boyd alluded to it a few minutes ago. National Adoption Day is an annual event. I think the Thursday before Thanksgiving, every November. It's a national event, and it's one of the happiest days at Juvenile Court. We have a lot of happy days at Juvenile Court. We have a lot of sad days at Juvenile Court. But National Adoption Day is one of our favorites because it is absolutely amazing to be there and watch the faces of those kids who are actually being adopted. So that what happens is the attorneys accumulate lists of kids and lists of people who are willing to adopt, and they bring that all together on that Saturday in November, and it's an annual. It's a nationwide event.
And it's really a wonderful, beautiful sight to see.
It is.
Well, Deputy Chief Samuel Washington with Juvenile Court, thank you so much for joining us today.
Okay. Thank you.
The Juvenile Court is always in need of volunteers, as you heard. Contact the court to get involved. Well, when we come back, a look at why you may want to go to the Fulton County Jail. Stay with us. Welcome back to Talk Fulton. The Fulton County Sheriff's Office is looking to add to its law enforcement family. There are job opportunities within the department in 2015. In order to see the full list, you can visit the Fulton County website or you can go to the Sheriff's external website. Meantime, the Sheriff has put a new member of his team in charge of working with the community on a myriad of initiatives. Lieutenant Dan Cochran is now the Commander of Community Outreach. Welcome, sir.
Thank you, Yvette.
Now, I understand that providing support and educational services to the community as a method of preventing crime is one of the constitutional mandates of the Sheriff's Office. How do you think your previous experience helps you in this new role?
Well, Yvette, I've been involved in almost every aspect of the Sheriff's Office, from working at the jail for a number of years, as well as background investigations, internal affairs, and now in the community outreach portion of the agency. And I believe I have a well-rounded level of experience with the agency as a whole, so that I can work with them and know how to interact with the public and get our message out there so that they understand what we're trying to do and that we're trying to give back to the public and trying to reach the children in schools, most importantly, to try to change the way youth interacts with law enforcement and to curb some of the population in our jail.
You've got some fantastic projects ahead of you. What are some of those big projects for the agency this year?
The next upcoming event that we're sponsoring is the Citizens Academy. It will start on April 22nd, and that is, we call it an academy. It is a program to educate those members of the community that so that they can take back information to their jobs, their community, places where they work, and educate them on what the Sheriff's Office is responsible for, what we do, and what an officer does or a deputy does during the day-to-day operations.
It sounds like a very informative program that people can get involved in. Now, how can viewers apply to join the Citizens Academy?
If anyone wishes to participate in that program, they can simply call our office, and our number is, community outreach number is 404-612-3562, or they may call me direct. My office number is 404-612-9185.
Now, I understand that your office, Lieutenant Cochran, gets calls from parents all over the state, all across the country, who are interested in the Youth Intervention Program. Tell us a little bit about that and how parents can sign their kids up.
The Youth Intervention Program is something the sheriff started. It's been about 5 years now, and it started when a parent contacted the agency and said that she was going to bring her daughter up to the agency and drop her off because she just couldn't deal with her child anymore because the child had become so unruly. And it was regarded as no one took her seriously. You know, she was just, we felt that she was trying to just threaten her daughter to get her to straighten up. Well, an hour later, the mother showed up with the daughter and had left her child with the sheriff's office with with the message, hey, you guys do something with her. I can't seem, she won't act right for me. So at that point, the sheriff realized or acknowledged that there are a lot of troubled youths within Fulton County, and he developed a program to help deal with them and to help lead them or redirect them to the right path. So what we ended up with is a program that we call Youth Intervention, and we do it once a month. Every third Wednesday of the month, we deal with about 20 to 25 children, really the most problematic, unruly children, those that have already become youth offenders, those that are skipping school, using drugs, violent in the home, and doing things that will ultimately lead them to our facility. And what our purpose is to show them that if they continue on the path that they're on, then they will end up in the Fulton County Jail. And we actually take them to the jail, expose them to the housing units where the inmates live, and let them speak with inmates one-on-one to get their message. And the inmates tell them that, hey, I was once just like you. Mm-hmm. I was once disrespectful to my parents. I was once violent in the home. I was using drugs. I was skipping school. I was fighting at school. I was in a gang, or I'm still in a gang. Mm-hmm. And the inmates explain to them that that's not the path that they want to be on, because it's not like a light switch. You cannot turn off that bad behavior one day and suddenly be that upstanding straight student or straight citizen. It escalates from where they are to a life of crime, and it's a very powerful message that they give.
And we also know it as Scared Straight. We've heard about it. We've also seen it on TV. Let's talk about how that shapes them a little bit.
The Scared Straight program is A&E's version of what we do. Mm-hmm. And how we got involved in that is that A&E became aware of what we were doing. We call it Youth Intervention, but A&E calls it Scared Straight. And they come out and film us during one of our Youth Intervention days. And we do it exactly the same way. Nothing's changed for the cameras. Nothing is scripted. Nothing's written down that we're going to do. We follow the exact same format with a tour of the courthouse. The children speak to a Superior Court judge. They get to hear from a defense attorney, and they also get to speak with a Fulton County District Attorney prosecutor. And from there we go to the Fulton County Jail, where they are treated just like inmates. Once we arrive at the intake area of the Fulton County Jail, they are regarded as Fulton County inmates. We simulate taking them through the bookend process, the fingerprint process, and then we actually do dress them out. We give them an inmate uniform to put on over their clothes. And we feed them the lunch that a typical inmate would receive, and then we take them upstairs from there and treat them just like an inmate, put them in the housing zones, and they see what life is truly going to be like.
It sounds like a truly sobering experience and necessary to wake them up to a lot of the activities that they may or may not be participating in. Now let's move from that to, not only do you work with youth, but you also work with homeless. Tell me about the homeless initiative. We do. Every year in August, we participate in it. Well, let me say it like this. We work jointly with our chaplaincy program in what we call a homeless initiative. And this past year was our most successful year yet. We obtained permits to block off the portion of Central Avenue between Mitchell and MLK. We had the entire block there, and we had food trucks come out with a hot meal for the homeless. We had donations given to us of hygiene products, toothpaste, toothbrushes, combs, soap, shampoo, all types of care products. There was someone there that had clothing to donate to them or give to them, and we spent that entire day or portion of the day just catering to their needs and helping them and just working with them to let them know that homelessness is not a crime. Talk to me a little bit about, you're doing amazing work. I'm a little dumbfounded by it, but I think it's awesome what all the programs and initiatives you're doing. Tell me a little bit about the HYPE Youth Conference.
HYPE stands for Helping Our Youth Prosper and Evolve. And that was another program event that was sponsored solely by the Sheriff's Office, developed by the Sheriff's Office, in which we gather youth from schools, Boys and Girls Clubs, churches, everywhere we can find youths that are not just at-risk youths, but everyone. It is open to everyone. And we have classes for them. We had 5 classes this past event for the children, and they were focused on anti-bullying, anti-gang, anti-violence. There was a class on health. We discussed education with them, and we had speakers, knowledgeable speakers, those who are experts in the field, come and speak to them about these subjects. And we also had a class for the parents as well. We had this past event, it was in October, it was 600, right at 600 youths and about 200 parents come out for that. It was our best turnout to date.
Well, you are doing some amazing work. I cannot wait to hear about the amazing things you do in the year to come. Lieutenant Dan Cochran, Commander of Community Outreach for the Fulton County Sheriff's Office. Thank you so much for joining us today. Now again, if you want to get additional details about how to get involved in any of the programs the Lieutenant discussed, you can contact the Sheriff's Office on their website or via phone. We will, of course, be right back. A special thanks to Deputy Chief Samuel Washington from Juvenile Court and to Lieutenant Dan Cochran from the Sheriff's Department. And a special thanks, of course, to you for watching. That is all of our time. We invite you to email us to let us know what topics you'd like to see addressed on Talk Fulton. Email us at fgtv.feedback@fultoncountyga.gov. I'm Yvette Jones. We'll see you next time.